Hello everyone, today we are back in the Homelab looking at some differences between MCP servers built with OpenAPI spec and MCP servers built with a full-fledged backend, usually written in something like Go or Python. So I have a few different cases in my Homelab here. You can see I have the ClickUp native, which is the one running in the Go backend, and then I have the regular ClickUp, which is using an OpenAPI spec. I also have GroupMe, which I attempted to use OpenAPI spec for, but ran into limitations. So what are the actual limitations or differences between these two? If I go in here, this one, MCP OpenAPI server for ClickUp, when we get in here, we can just see a ton of endpoints. Basically, it's mapping the entire backend that ClickUp has. On the other side, when we look at our Go native ClickUp MCP server, we have far fewer, and a lot of them have more detail and also business logic under the hood. So that's the main constraint that you will likely hit if you're trying to develop against one of these systems. Is OpenAPI spec is a simple and easy way to expose the API to the AI agent. However, because of that simplicity, you lose the business logic capability, you lose the additional features of actually programming an entire backend yourself, which of course, it's harder, it will take more development time, but you can implement logging, you can implement custom logic to say, okay, get this task and do this to the task and chain down as you need to and build out the logic, which is not possible with something like an OpenAPI spec. They both have their use cases, don't get me wrong, but the OpenAPI spec will be much better suited for a smaller API or maybe a more new API that isn't fully fleshed out yet. It doesn't have as many endpoints, and then the AI can actually handle that. When you give these AI platforms 500 plus tools, especially if you don't have good descriptions for what those tools do, the AI gets overwhelmed. It might misfire and choose the wrong endpoint, and it ends up having trouble doing what you want it to do. But if you actually program everything yourself, you give the descriptions of the tools, you handle the backend logic and even error checking and other things, that can make the AI much more powerful. And you can even give specific prompts to the AI of what tools you know need to be triggered, and it can really give you an effective solution in that way. So more to come on this. I wanted to make a quick video to touch on that as we continue to build out our enterprise solutions here, and also document my progress as I build out these backends, as opposed to the OpenAPI specs, since I've had some trouble. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully some of these points are useful for others that are building in this MCP space. We are very much still in the preliminary stages. MCP, I believe, is maybe a year and some change old, so looking forward to what comes out of this in the future.